What's up, YouTube? It's Carolina Calvin. Now we'll be talking about the Carolina Panthers victory, 24-7 over the Detroit Lions. You saw a lot in this game. You saw that the secondary can actually hold up now, and you know we have some depth at defensive end. But I'm going to break down the individual stats. I'm gonna go through the quarterbacks and whatever. Let me see. I'll go. I'll start with Detroit. Matthew Stafford, 27-48, 253 yards. This is after subtracting the sack yardage just lost. One touchdown, one interception. The guy threw the ball 48 times. Wow. Matthew Stafford, he kind of reverted back to the Matthew Stafford that Detroit Lions fans don't like. Well, he forces the ball down the field, especially to Calvin Johnson. He forces the ball down the field to him, and he wasn't very accurate. Give some credit to the secondary. I think we don't have really any big names, and the Panthers made some plays in the secondary, but Matthew Stafford was missing guys, and he was forcing the ball down the field. On the Carolina Panthers side of things, Cam Newton, 22 of 34, 251 yards, one touchdown, and more importantly, 0 picks. He was under pressure quite a bit, but I think he handled the pressure pretty good. Coming into the game, of course, you knew he was going to be rusty starting out, and you saw it at the beginning of this game. He started to loosen up in that third quarter, that fourth quarter. He started to loosen up. Hopefully, this will get him right for next week. But, you saw the Cam Newton, in that third and fourth quarter, you saw the Cam Newton, you saw his progression as a quarterback. He was sitting in the pocket, wasn't a bunch of running around, wasn't a bunch of forcing the ball down the field, although he did do it a few times. You could tell he was looking through his progression. He was looking off the defense. He was looking at multiple receivers, and he was getting at times he was getting the ball out of his hands fast, and other times we held the ball, and it led to a few sacks. But all in all, I think his second half performance was pretty good. Rushing attack, Joique Bell, 10 carries, 36 yards. Reggie Bush, 6 carries, 26 yards. Matthew Stafford had a run for 8 yards, and Reddick had a carry for 0 yards. Then wasn't that committed to the run? I don't think they didn't use Reggie Bush enough. I thought they were mainly using him to run up, run straight up the gut. I don't think that's how he should be used. I mean, the guy's still really fast. He's not as fast as he once was, but the guy's still really fast. I think they should use him more so as a as a guy who get him out in space, and he can he's a type of guy he can make people miss. So I think they should use him more so in that fashion. Sorry, I was looking at something. They should use him more in that fashion. To toss, I will say some plays that get him out to the outside, not just running straight up the gut. You got Joique Bell to do that. On Carolina side of things, no, neither team ran it really well. Carolina Panthers, were without D'Angelo Williams, so they were down one running back. Jonathan Stewart, 15 carries, 37 yards. One key note that he had 47 yards after contact, and he only had 37 yards rushing. So that means there were a lot of negative plays. He was getting hit in the backfield. Run blocking was not great. That's definitely got to improve as the season goes on, especially with this brutal schedule. I doubt it does, but I want it to. He did have the one touchdown, and the guy ran really hard. That's pretty much what you're gonna get out of Jonathan Stewart. Cam Newton had a carry, 4 carries, 19 yards. Brown had 1 carry for 11 yards, and Mike Tolbert had 4 carries for -5. Yeah, wow. And the rushing attack, they do stay committed to it. They run it upwards 25 to 30 times a game, and they stay committed to it. They make you have to respect it, but the run blocking wasn't that good. And it was more so they mixed it up more so than Detroit did. Detroit, it was mostly throw, and then at the end of the game you had to, because Carolina was up by multiple scores, so kind of understand why they threw it so much. But even early on, you saw Carolina was actually still running the ball. Detroit's receivers, Calvin Johnson, 6 carries, 83 yards. He was targeted 13 times. So I think they did a really good job. He catches a little under half those. Joey Bell, six receptions, 61 yards. Was targeted 11 times. Golden Tate, 5 receptions, 57 yards. Targeted 8 times. Eric Ebron, 3 receptions, 38 yards. Targeted 5. Jeremy Ross, 2 receptions, 23 yards. Faurier, 20 yards. And Reggie, 6 yards. I think there's no Bell that had Bush. It's just me. Wilson, 6 receptions, 72 yards. He was talking. Jason, 54 yards and a touchdown. And the receivers. Jericho Cotry, 4 receptions, 46 yards, 8 times. Really good. 3 catch yarder. But in this game, he still just showed a lot. We watched the team. You see this guy big talk. Just had a back. Jonathan, 2 yards and yards. He had 10 tackles, 1 sack, 3 tackles for a loss, and 1 QB hit. The guy played amazing. I guess I'll just point out who played really good. Stephen Tolt played really everywhere. Good in terms of run deep. I think that line before guys have been playing the season 2 game. Let's see. Dom caused a lot of havoc. He didn't really make in terms of for loss or sacks, but he caused a lot of pressure, disruption. Nick Fairley played. He played defensive tackle and line pretty good. And they're okay. There were drops by Carolina, but they played okay. Especially they're in the secondary. So I think they made some plays. But the main guys is those defensive tackles and the linebackers. Let me see. Mosley had a really good game. He had 2 sacks. He was able to get some pressure whenever they had him out there. So the front for the Detroit Lions showed up. They had other problems which I'll get into that lost in this game. Carolina's defense: Thomas Davis, Antoine Cason, Luke Kuechly, Juan Edwards. Those the front 7. You know what you're gonna get out of the front 7. Let me see. What's his name? Go on, give me 1 second. Mario Addison. Dude came in. Greg Hardy was inactive for this game. Dude came in about 30 snaps, got 2.5 sacks, and was very disruptive in whenever they put him out there. So I think this guy's gonna see a little bit more playing time, especially seeing we don't know where the Greg Hardy thing is gonna go, but I like what I saw from him out there. Very disruptive. Secondary, Ben Wickery made some plays. He had 2 passes defended. Roman Harper looked good against the run, whenever Detroit ran the ball. And Thomas Deku, both those guys look, they played pretty good. So I think at this point the secondary hasn't looked too bad. At the beginning of the season. Now we still got some tough games in the schedule. One good thing to note is they didn't give up a passing play over 20 yards. Let me make sure of that. Yep, they didn't give up a passing play over 20 yards. So against this explosive Detroit Lions who put up 35 in their first game, you expecting them to go down the field, but Carolina did a good job of keeping guys in front of them, and being very physical with the receivers, and Detroit has some tall receivers, so it's difficult to stop. But Carolina did a really good job in the secondary. A point of emphasis that I said when I did my picks was how was the secondary gonna hold up against these Detroit Lions receivers. and I think they held up pretty well. The keys to victory, I think, were Carolina had 0 turnovers and Detroit Lions had 3. Make sure, yeah, Detroit Lions had 3. They had 2 fumbles. One was by Jeremy, I believe, by Jeremy Ross and during the kickoff, and another by Joy Bell, and an interception by Matthew Stafford. 2 of these led to points, which, you can't turn the ball over, especially in a game where, at that point in time, the game was really close. It didn't really get out of hand to the end of the third quarter. That fourth quarter, Carolina really didn't jump ahead of them until then. Let's see. Penalties were relatively the same. Time possession was relatively the same. So the major difference in this game is the turnovers. Detroit was better on third down than Carolina, but they didn't yield many points out of majority of their possessions. You had the missed field goal, that kicker. The second week in a row he's missed field goal. I don't know what they're gonna do with him. I'm pretty sure they're out there looking for another kicker because I just don't think he's that good. Let me see. Anything else to note? Nope. Pretty much going to who the next games. Detroit Lions head to Green Bay. I think they head to Green Bay to play the Packers, so it's gonna be a tough game. Aaron Rodgers just came off a comeback win against the New York Jets, so that's the division game. And it's always a tough game. Division games, you throw records out the window because anybody can go in there and win. Because these teams know each other, they know how team tendencies, they know how each team plays. So it's gonna be a nice game to watch. Carolina Panthers head to Pittsburgh to play the Steelers. This is the Sunday night game. Pittsburgh came off a really bad loss against the Ravens, 26-6. Definitely a shell of their former self. The defense did not look good, and offensively, a lot rides on Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown. And they have some young talent, but I just don't think they're a complete team like they once were. But that pretty much does it. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. What did you think of the game? What was your favorite game of the week? The usual shit I ask you every week. If you have any team you want me to do, just let me know. Twitter. Of course, my Twitter is @CalvinFieldPop, 2 T's. So tweet me, comment down, message, whatever. Email me, doesn't matter. Of course, hit that thumbs up button. Thanks for watching.